Hello, you gorgeous donuts. Chris Brown is one of the most famous artists that arguably has ever lived. Like, he was one of the most famous people when I was in school, and 10 years later, he's still at the height of fame. Although Chris Brown has had huge success within his music career, he's arguably one of the most controversial artists at the moment. And in this video, I want to go through all of the public cases that Chris Brown has had, how he's recently been arrested in the UK and why he was arrested and then later released. I kind of want to have a conversation about how some people love him, how some people hate him, and just the general conversation between an artist and the art they create. I find it so fascinating, especially with Chris Brown. We're also going to have a look at some of the odd things that have been happening at the Chris Brown concerts, because honestly, they will blow your mind. He puts on concerts like no other. And at the end of this video, we're going to cover Chris Brown's response to all of the negative comments about him. We've got so much to cover in this video, so let's get into it. So first off, I want to discuss all of the public cases surrounding Chris Brown that he has been involved in over the years. The first one happened on February the 8th, 2009. This is the first known public case of Chris Brown doing something negative, and it's also possibly the most famous. And this is his assault on Rihanna, who, for anybody that somehow doesn't know, is also a huge artist herself and has now branched into even bigger things. Chris Brown and Rihanna were in LA at the time, and after an argument, Chris Brown physically assaulted her. It has been reported that apparently Rihanna hit him first. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of the cases. However, Chris Brown was actually charged for this. Like, reading through this case when I was researching for this video, it was honestly horrific, like the things that he did to her. I don't even want to read it out because it's just brutal. And Chris Brown himself actually pleaded guilty to this in 2009, like he admitted to doing all of this stuff to Rihanna. It says here that he was sentenced to 5 years probation, 6 months of community service, domestic violence, counselling, and a restraining order. And obviously this case severely impacted his public image. Like, this is always going to be attached to him, that he did this to someone else. It doesn't matter who started it. Like Chris Brown, that just stuck with them forever. Now moving forward to around 2012, Rihanna and Chris Brown actually met up and reconciled and apparently got on like okay terms after what happened. And in many interviews after, Chris Brown would announce his regret for what he did. However, he would often kind of minimize like the extent of what he did. Obviously, it's probably just uncomfortable to talk about, and he kind of wants the media to get away from what he's done. So this is fact. Chris Brown is a domestic abuser. Like, he got sentenced for it. Like, it's not like up in the air accusations. He pleaded guilty to doing that, which makes him a not very nice person. Moving forward to 2017, Chris Brown would get another case against him. This involves Karachi Tran, who is a model. She got a restraining order against Chris Brown. Apparently threatened to kill her. He like sent abusive messages to her, again physically assaulted her. I think he pushed her down the stairs as well. Like, obviously that's not really what you want from your boyfriend, is it? A little bit of a red flag. Probably wouldn't want to see him again after that. And again, Chris Brown was found guilty of this. She got a 5-year restraining order, which obviously, like, that'll make her, it doesn't take the pain away, but it gives her a little bit of just reassurance that this man can't hurt her again. And then moving forward to January 2019, the accusations against Chris Brown didn't stop there. He was actually accused of in Paris. Chris Brown actually denied that this ever happened after he was arrested by French police. He was actually released pending investigation, and then the case got thrown out because of sufficient evidence, so he didn't actually get found guilty of that. Moving forward to 2021, another woman claimed that Chris Brown like hit her on the back of the head so hard that she was like really hurt by it. The police took a report at the time, but no charges were pressed. Again, Chris Brown denied that this ever happened and that he ever actually was involved in any of this. And there's been other various cases of Chris Brown involved in a lot of other things with women, such as emotional abuse, controlling behaviour, and threatening messages or phone calls. According to some of the articles that I was reading, a lot of the women don't want to come forward publicly because of public scrutiny and all of that stuff. It apparently is too overwhelming for them. And I can imagine, you know, like, Chris Brown has a huge audience. You are going to get attacked if you come forward. Now, I haven't just reeled all of them off to kind of, you know, hate on Chris Brown here. I just want to paint the picture of why people don't like him, because later in this video, you're going to see a lot of videos from people who really don't want people to support this man. So I just want to give you all the context in this video. Now, moving forward to 2025, Chris Brown again was in more controversy. Like, does this man ever just, I don't know, sit down with a cuppa and just watch the telly, watch the chase or something, you know, try and make it to the end? This guy has always got something around his head. Just have a night in, Chris. Just have a night in. Chris Brown was recently arrested in the UK because he was causing bodily harm to somebody. This stemmed from a nightclub incident that happened in London, and I believe it was in February 2013 2015. I think it was the 19th off the top of my head. However, he wasn't actually arrested until May 2025 when he is on his tour here in the UK at the moment in Manchester. When I was reading through the specifics of the case, it said that he smashed a tequila bottle off someone's head, which that's how you know he's making a lot of money, right? Smashing a tequila bottle, like how much money is this bloke got? This was apparently an unprovoked attack, and it went to one court, and apparently like the whole incident was too serious for this court, so it actually went to the full Southwark Crown Court in London because the case was so huge. Chris Brown was actually granted bail due to a $5 million security bond that was created. $4 million was paid immediately, and then like $1 million in a week. Like, that is an insane amount of money. He had to make sure that he had no contact with the victim, and also he had to hand over his passport, so basically they're making sure he doesn't go anywhere. Now obviously this crime wasn't against like women in general, but like a lot of his kind of accusations have been against women and women coming forward about Chris, and you would think that because of this, like maybe women would stop supporting him in a way, well, men as well, but just because all of the crimes have been against women, they might feel a little bit more strongly about it, and definitely a lot of women do, as you're going to see later in this video. However, it's reported that 70 to 75% of people that purchase tickets to Chris Brown's tours are women, and I just find this interesting. I'm not trying to like, you know, demonize anyone that buys tickets or doesn't buy tickets, whatever, like wherever you sit on the fence, but it is interesting how he still got such a huge fan base even though all of this public information is out there. He also follows the same kind of blueprint that a lot of, you know, successful artists such as Drake and Travis Scott follow, where all of their songs kind of sound very similar. So if you like a Chris Brown song from 2025, chances are you'll like one from 2015 because they all kind of have the same cadence. Basically, it creates this huge catalogue, this backlog of songs that people can binge if they just have discovered you. And this means when you have a tour, you sell so many more tickets because some people might be a fan of your early work, some people might be a fan of your new work, but all in all, they're going to be a fan of every single song you do because it's so similar. And I think that's why the guy has still got so much longevity despite all of the kind of stuff that has happened in his private life, which isn't so private anymore. It's reported that 446,000 tickets have been sold to Chris Brown's tour, which is absolutely mental. Like, that's a staggering amount of people. Nearly 500,000 people going to his concert. Some big artists don't even get that with streams on a new song. But it does beg the question, do people give Chris Brown, like, I don't want to say a free pass, but do they give him more wiggle room because of how talented he is, because of how much of a good artist he is, because, you know, some people might just fancy him, like the bloke's like a good looking bloke? I just find it such an interesting question. I just kind of want to pose that to the audience, why you think it is, because if another artist who wasn't as talented as Chris Brown had all of these controversies against him, this definitely would have ended their career, like 100%, because of how consistent they are and just the magnitude of them. Like, Chris Brown went to prison. I also find it interesting how like other artists at the moment get so much more than what Chris Brown does when they don't even do, like, I don't even want to say a tenth, even 1% of the badness that he's arguably done in his life. Like, such as Sabrina Carpenter, people like that, like, they get treated as if they're the worst people on earth for, like, you know, what they wear in a music video or something. Like, are they really that bad compared to other people that are kicking about? You know what I mean? Like, if you presented all the information about those two to somebody that didn't know any of them and they had to guess who gets the most hate, they definitely wouldn't pick Sabrina. This sounds like I'm a Sabrina Carpenter stan. I guess I kind of I'm not a stan. I like her music, but I'm not really a stan. Right, I wouldn't go that far. Right, back off, Christ. Now at this point in the video, I am very interested to see like why people book his tour. Like, I've kind of, you know, guessed why some people go, but I actually want to see what goes on at this tour that makes people, like, you know, press that buy button. Now, one of the most viral things that he does at his tour is he often like picks someone out the crowd, like sits them down on a chair and then does some sort of like sexy dance on them. That's a little bit weird though, isn't it? That's a little bit. I mean, there's definitely a lot of people watching this, or some people watching this who'd be like, oh God, right, why is she living my dream right now? But again, the fact you just get to them on stage and just kind of like humps them in front of everyone, is this just not awkward? I don't know. Maybe this is sexy. Maybe people are like, hell, this is class, this is doing it for me, honestly. I'm gonna video this for later. This happens at every show, and you're gonna see later in this video how people actually go to the show wanting to be picked, how their sole purpose of going to the show is so that Chris Brown brings them on stage. This is just so weird. This reminds me of like when I was in Benidorm, you know, every single pub you walk past, there's some sort of like Star Wars show. Obviously it's not as you know, that's probably a lot sexier than what this is. You get what I'm saying, right? I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm kind of confused right now. Wait, what? Wait, the intro of that said your friend's girlfriend. I'm telling you, right? Like, I don't think I definitely wouldn't go to a Chris Brown concert. But just say for some reason me and Chloe were there and like he picked Chloe to go up, I'd be like, you're not fucking going up. I'm never gonna say no to you doing anything in your life, but I'm taking the pass here. I'm being controlling in this situation. You're not going up there. Think I'm gonna let him do a sexy dance on you? Got no chance. I don't care if he made loyal. Right, you're not being very loyal right now. Oh, that, I don't, like, what? That's like another kind of weird mental thing. Like, if you're a girl and you went to a Chris Brown concert, right, and you're in a relationship, and Chris Brown was like, yeah, I want you to come on stage, would you do it? Let us know in the comments. We're about to see something right now. We're about to see who's really loyal. Like, it's just, even the fact he's got his, like, hand round her neck. Obviously, right, he's not going to do anything in front of a huge audience. But when you have read the cases that he's previously been involved in, and then on stage he's just doing it, he doesn't care. It's almost like an FU. He's just like, nah, like, literally, I'm going to do this in front of everyone, and you can't do anything. Like, doesn't matter. It's very interesting. Like, it's so interesting how he almost feels kind of untouchable. Now, like I said, like, mainly influencers, I'll say this, like, I don't think it's like everybody that, it's definitely not everyone that goes to a Chris Brown concert. It's not like, I guess, going to a One Direction concert, shaving your legs and hoping that Harry Styles brings you to the after party. It's not that kind of thing, I don't think. I've heard a lot of girls did that for some reason when they were younger. So Harry Styles is going to be like, do you want to come? Right, I know you're in school, but do you want to come back? Just a side note before we get onto this, I remember, like, when I first started going out with Chloe, she was going to see the 1975, and I remember being stressed, like, this was in like the first couple of weeks of a relationship. I remember being stressed that Matty Healy was going to pick her out the crowd, because I fancied her so much, so I was like, well, of course Matty Healy's going to fancy her, like, and I remember stressing when she was going there. I went, like, what an absolute freak that I was. There's this one specific person that actually brung like their own like studio ring light to kind of stand out from everyone else in the crowd. Bloody hell, how bright she, like the Star of Nazareth. Christ. Gonna be a plane landing next to her. Bloody hell, like she's at Gatwick. How bright. Ships are gonna be coming in, think it's the pier, like a lighthouse, man. So obviously very main character energy there. Like, imagine being stood behind her. You can't see anything on stage because, you know, you've just got like a headlight just shining down on you. You'd have to wear sunglasses if you were behind her, and even then you'd still be kind of fucked. She's not even watching it, man. This is so funny. This is so main character energy. I kind of rate it, if anything, but then I kind of don't. Like, I rate it because I'm not next to her. If I was next to her, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Can you not just turn around and bob your head like everyone else? Like, what are you doing? Now, because she was getting so much attention and trying to get Chris's attention on stage, apparently Chris looked at her a couple of times. People started filming her from, like, the ground level. If this was you in Manchester, fair play for trying to get picked. You had that torch shining so bright we could see you from the other side of the arena. Look how bright she is, man. Really? At least everyone else is, you know, kind of living in the moment. Not a phone in sight there. Ah, it's great times. Right, this is definitely one they're going to remember. This person seems very sad that they've got to stand next to the, you know, the lighthouse woman. Someone said in the comments that they actually partied with her at the Chris Brown after party that night, which is pretty crazy. I did see this one video that I found really funny that is kind of off topic, but obviously Chris Brown says a word that I can't say. There was this person that was kind of scanning the room looking for people saying that word. Oh. Yeah, hard on, everything that's a bit rough in it, caught in 4K. Not the first time she said that, won't be the last as well, judging by, you know, the video. I'm telling you, if I was at a concert and like that word is used often and I was black, right, I would be scanning that room. I would be like waiting, like, huh? Right, that 1, 2, 3, right, say goodbye to your jobs. Say goodbye to your jobs, right, caught on camera. Like, I'd be scanning that room like Cesc Fabregas, looking around. I'd know every single person, taking photos of them, reverse image searching them when I get home. Chris Brown actually charges a huge sum of money, which we are going to reveal after I show you what this is, for his meet and greets. Now, these aren't just like like normal meet and greets, I guess, where I don't know what happens. Do you just kind of like say hello and then you get a photo and then you just go? Like, the photos from these are so alarming and kind of fit his entire vibe. I'm sorry, but what is this? What kind of a meet and greet photo is this? This is not meet and greet. This is like a meet and G again, right? Look at his face. And the fact he's got his hand round her neck. This guy just does not care. Look at those eyes. The eyes never lie, Chico. The eyes don't lie. Again, look at him just bite his lip there. I want to know, like, does he direct these photos? Surely he must. They're just so specific. Oh, God, imagine, like, this is your girlfriend. Chris Brown's just picking her up like that. You'd be like, oh, no, man. What are these photos, man? What is this? Looks like he's picking up his kid or something. Right. I mean, the face, Chris, man. This is what I'm actually going to do if I ever go on tour. Guys, right, this is what our meet and greet's going to be. And yes, you will have to pay us for it. Right, these knees aren't free for anyone. These are going to make us money one day. That sounds wrong. Now, how much do you think that Chris actually charges for these meet and greet photos? Like, take a guess, right? I'm going to tell you, but I want you to take a guess just mentally. $1,200, which is around £881 in the UK, to just get picked up by Chris Brown. What are we doing? People are taking out debt so they can get Chris Brown to hold them like this. For what reason? I wouldn't even pay that to go to one of his shows, and people are paying that just to get straddled by him. The world's gone mad. I know he made beautiful people, but you don't need to pay that much. I do find it interesting that artists like charge so much for the fans just to like meet them, especially when it's a photo. I know this is a whole different entire conversation. It's not really a reflection on them as people, but it definitely shows that they just want to squeeze as much money out of their fans as possible. I always remember Matty Healy, like bringing him up again, talking about meet and greets and saying like if the form of payment was different, a lot of artists wouldn't actually like charge them for it.
You tell you what, if you want to do paid meet and greets, do them. I stand by it, but you take the money. If you're an artist and you do paid meet and greets, do it cash and you take the money off the fan.
Now, I do get the sentiment behind that. Like, that would make it a lot more awful, but then you could say the same thing about, like, purchasing tickets for the tour. But I do get what he's saying. Like, especially when it's, like, $1,200. People won't even be able to hand over the money. They might as well just hand over their car keys. Be like, oh, cheers for the photo, Chris. Here's my car. Definitely will be a lot different. Now, moving on, I just want to kind of cover how people feel about Chris Brown in general after, like, his tour is blew up in the UK and all of these clips are going viral from it. Because it has created such a huge conversation about whether going to Chris Brown is really bad or if it's just going to see an artist. Again, the conversation between an artist and their art. So firstly, a lot of people that went to see Chris Brown actually defended the fact that they went to see him.
You're just jealous. They're just jealous of him.
Just don't judge him.
His music is brilliant. That's all I care about.
He's not like killed someone, has he? Chris Brown had...
Yeah, but I mean, that's not really a good defense. If your defense is, yeah, well, I've not killed anyone. You know, it's not really... It's like, well, what else have you done? If that's the only thing you haven't done. Again, I'm not trying to, you know, put my own opinion out here. I'm just saying. Like, if you shot 100 people in the leg and they didn't die, you can still use that excuse. Doesn't mean you're a nice person.
Just days before he's due in court in London, charged with violently assaulting a producer on his last tour here. He still sold out arenas across the country, with some fans paying hundreds of pounds.
$270 each, I think, something like that.
It was £214 each.
Maybe like 400-500-ish.
And that's even more interesting because clearly Chris Brown, I don't want to say he doesn't care about his fans, but he's definitely exploiting them. Charging $214 for just like a normal ticket is crazy work. I know it's supply and demand, and if he doesn't go on tour that much, and obviously he's a huge artist, that's what he can charge. But that is a hell of a lot.
I think people are only suing him because he's got money. So if that was like a regular guy on the street, it wouldn't even be thought about. It's just because he's famous and he's got money, he's made a big deal about it.
Now, although that argument, you know, can be, you know, true, you don't know anything like about the case. Like, you're saying this on a huge media platform with just like in the spur of the moment and just say, oh well, it's just the money. Like, unless you know everything about the case, you can't say that as fact. That's why in this video I'm trying to display all of the information kind of surrounding it and just letting you have your own opinion on it. But it's an awfully bold statement to say, oh, they're just doing it for money. Rihanna didn't need money. Like, why would Rihanna like go to the authorities about Chris Brown? It wasn't for fame or money. She's probably got a lot more money than him.
I don't blame him or I don't judge him based on what has happened in his past. That's his personal life. But as a fan, I'm here to enjoy his music.
And again, that is a really interesting take, and it's kind of the thing that I've, alluded to a lot in this video, is a lot of people do separate artists and their art. They kind of treat them as if they're two different entities, and I'm guilty of that. Like, I imagine some people that I listen to, like, they probably have cases that I don't know about, but I don't go out of my way to search them before I listen to them. It's just the fact with Chris Brown, a lot of people treat it a lot differently because all of his stuff is so public, and it's kind of forced onto you, like, everybody knows about it. What I find even funnier is not the interviews people have, like, taken talking about Chris Brown. It's like the TikToks that are made about him.
The way I would f him,
really?
It's not even funny. I'm a ride he wouldn't survive. The wheels would come right off.
All right.
I want to pop open the hood and root around.
Root toot Rudy.
All right, love. Be a little bit more honest next time. I think some people just like, because this guy is so fit in their eyes, they're like, I don't care. Like, how many people is he? I don't care. This man sang with you. Okay, that's enough for me.
He could run me over, he could hit me with the car and then back up and do it again. And I would be like, baby, I'm so sorry.
I wouldn't actually put that out in the universe because I believe Chris Brown's got that in him to possibly do that to you. So I wouldn't, even joke about that really.
This video is going to cause an uproar, but I really don't care because I feel like it needs to be said. I really enjoyed myself at Chris Brown on Saturday, and from now, 4 days on, I'm seeing loads of hate with him. Oh my god, I can't believe you support him. Nah, 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 nah. See, back in the day when you was at school disco, did you think about that, about all the other artists you've been listening to? All these haters out there? Because I guarantee you, they've done something wrong. It's just kept under wraps. There's so many artists out there that have done wrong and you lot are listening to their songs and stuff, but then you lot are really quick to get on Chris Brown because everything's said out in the open. Like, you need to really check yourself before you start commenting on other people's businesses.
Now, what do you think about that? Because, like, it's almost like everyone has an opinion on this, and every single opinion I see is totally different. Now, if you want my opinion on this, if you go to a Chris Brown concert, I don't think you're as, like, bad as Chris Brown. I don't think you're the worst person on earth. But I definitely think it's interesting, the conversation of, like, the morality behind it and whether, like, you really should be paying for people like this. But again, like I said, with a lot of artists you listen to, they might have something behind the scenes that you don't know about. So, like, where's the line with all of this? But yeah, just to end this video, I did see that Chris Brown actually recently responded to kind of all of this conversation that's been going on at the moment on his Instagram story. I wish y'all stop comparing me to other artists and saying me versus someone else until one of them artists do all of this by themselves with no help and the media constantly with them, then come holler at me. I'm trying to feed my family. I could give a about the next artist and what they're doing. I don't celebrities at all, and I'm not welcome in their circles. Breezy bowlers for the dedicated fans who actually want to be there. Everyone else, I've been overly busting my ass for the last 20 years, and I understand I will never be recognised for nothing more than drama. So miss me with all that please. But that last paragraph is interesting. Like, he clearly feels very angry that his art isn't being kind of celebrated because of stuff that he's done in his private life. However, because you are an influencer, like an artist, but you're also, like a social media, people are following you for your personality and your skill. This is going to be attached to you. And unfortunately, you can't kind of separate the two. Like, they do coexist in the same universe because it's all coming from you. But clearly, he feels really, really angry about this, that this constantly gets brought up. So I just want to ask you again the question, like, how do you feel about all of this? I hope this video hasn't come across as, like, hating or anything like that, because that's really not the intent of this. I'm not trying to, like, hate on anyone that went to Chris Brown, anyone that didn't. I just kind of want to open up the conversation and just, like, I'm interested to just read the comments, like, when I upload this. Like, I'll be excited to see the response to this one. I say excited, intrigued. But yeah, just let me know. And also, like, do you enjoy these kind of videos where I kind of break down an entire situation like this? Anyway, donuts, if you want to watch another video from me that is similar to this one, click this one here. Go on a binge watch, right? We've got loads of videos that you can watch whenever. There's a whole back catalogue of them. Like, we've uploaded more videos this year than we did for the entirety of last year. That's pretty crazy, right? So go and enjoy them. They're there for you.
Kirkham, baby.